Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode of the Trainer Talk. Today we're going to be talking about meal prepping. It definitely doesn't have to be very hard. A lot of people that we work with, they kind of stress out about meal prepping. They think it's going to take a lot of time out of their day, multiple days a week. And so we put together just basically what we do on a weekly basis for all the foods that we eat. And we wanted to try to make it as simple as possible. So something that we care about is speed and simplicity. So how can we make healthy meals that are very easy to do, they're simple, but also pretty fast. That way you're not using all of your time prepping for the week. So just to kind of kick things off, I'll start with what I do. My main meals throughout the day, I really only have 3 main meals, and then I have a variety of snacks throughout the day. That's just what works best for me. Waking up really early, I don't make a huge breakfast, and then I kind of snack until lunch, and then I'll have maybe another snack or two, and then dinner. So my first meal is actually a shake. I like to refer to them as a super shake. So right when I wake up, I grab my Ninja. It's about a 24 ounce cup. Put ice and milk in there, spinach, blueberries, some protein powder, oats, and walnuts, and blend that up. I'm getting my protein, my veggies, a bunch of antioxidants from the blueberries, my carbohydrates. So it's basically a full meal, and it ends up being about 400 or 500 calories, and that powers me through my morning. Then before I get to lunch, about 7 or 8 a.m., I usually have a snack. And my snack might be considered a meal for most people, but I have an egg wrap. So it's very easy to make. What I do is I make a pan of about 5 eggs. Think of it just like a pancake, and I cut it in half, and then I put 2 to 2.5 eggs on a wrap with a little bit of cheese if you want. I used to do avocado, and then I use spinach wraps, and I have 2 egg wraps for the day, and it takes me like 7 minutes to make that. So usually what I'll do is I'll make that the day before, and then I'll have both of my egg wraps for the next day. I don't have to think about it. And then I have a banana and an RX bar or an uncut bar from Transparent Labs with that. So I have my protein, my fats, and some carbs, all right in the morning for a snack. And then for my lunch, I'll do my second egg wrap, so it's already pre-made. And usually I'll just do, I wouldn't recommend this for everybody. I just need a lot of carbohydrates with what I do, so I have about 4 slices of toast with some chicken sausage. So it's basically like a brunch. You could also just substitute that for like oatmeal. That would definitely be a healthier option for carbs. Throw in another, scoop or half scoop of protein with that. Mix it up. I do vanilla and then throw blueberries in it, and it's phenomenal. It's a vanilla flavored oats with some fruit. It's very good. They complement each other. And then for dinner, it's usually just chicken, broccoli, and rice, or something of that nature. But all these things, they really need to be simple to make. So for my rice, I don't go out and get a huge bag that takes me, 20 or 30 minutes to boil. If you could do that, absolutely do so. But I just get the 2-minute or the 90-second bags of rice. That way, you throw it in the microwave. That gets cooked while you're, frying your chicken on the grill or on the oven or the stove, however you make your chicken. And then I get these steam bags of broccoli as well. So all this I get to prep and have ready in like a matter of 10 minutes. And then the snacks are obviously bananas, apples, and bars. Those are on the go and really easy to do. So that's kind of a layout of my whole day. I'll let these guys go through their day, and then we'll just give you some tips and tricks on how to plan out your own week.
Yeah, so what I do, I leave my breakfast kind of option depending on my schedule for the day. Sometimes in the morning I'm not as hungry, or I need to get to the gym a little bit earlier and I don't have time to make a big breakfast or anything like that. So some days I'll do just like a smoothie with frozen fruits, protein powder, with some peanut butter and oats in there, with some almond milk and spinach. And that way, you have your fruits, your vegetables, your protein, some healthy fats in there. That's really quick for on the go. I've also done some meal prep with like eggs, doing like these little muffin omelet cups and putting some just peppers and onions in there. You can put different meats in there or something like that to give it a little extra protein. But I have about 3 of those would give me enough protein, and then put that on with some toast, and then maybe some avocado and some salsa, and then that's a good like whole balanced meal on days that I have more time to eat. And then sometimes on the go I'll just have like a snack, protein bar, RX bar, and a banana. That's usually, it could be in between workouts. I usually have a post-workout shake as well, so protein and some carb powder that's right after my workout, just to get some fuel in right away. Or sometimes I drink it during my workout too. And then I have another meal for like my lunch, which is usually rice and then either chicken or beef. And then I'll make like a rice salsa beef bowl out of that. Would be kind of like a fast digesting lunch. And then chicken, rice, and veggies would be another option that I would do. For dinner, it'd usually be something with potatoes and like a pork loin. That'd probably be my go-to, just because I can throw it in a slow cooker and have pretty much the whole meal prepped for 4 different meals, or 5 different meals, depending on how much I put in there. So I can have my meat and my potatoes and everything meal prepped right just like that. And I like to batch cook a lot of my like carbs and proteins, so that way I can just put all these meals together throughout the week and I don't even have to think about it. Sometimes if you give yourself the room to have to make the decision of what you're going to eat, then it leaves the opportunity for you to eat less healthier options. So by making a bunch of chicken ahead of time and a bunch of rice or potatoes, you can throw those together and you can cook the vegetable on that day, which is usually just a frozen bag of vegetables, or you can vary it up in that regard, and just saving some time with cooking all the meat and all of the rice instead of cooking it like that day.
Yeah, so for breakfast, I usually make oatmeal if I have time. It literally takes 5 minutes to throw it all together, put it in the microwave, and eat it. If I have to be here earlier, I'm usually not ready for that, and plus I don't usually give myself enough time for that, so that's when I'll make a smoothie. Really, it takes about the same amount of time to make a smoothie, or make oats. I can just drink my smoothie on the way. So that's typically breakfast. If I have lots of extra time, I might make eggs, but typically it's oatmeal, and then maybe later I'll have eggs and toast, like after a workout, if I have time to go back home before I have to come back up here. For lunches, my biggest tip is to use as many appliances as you can at one time. So like if I'm prepping my lunch, I will put my chicken in the air fryer, I'll put my vegetables in the oven, and I'll cook my rice on the stove. And then you literally have it done in 30 minutes. And I do this on like either Sunday or Monday, and then I have it for the entire week. You have the lunch for the entire week. Another thing that you can do though, like say you don't necessarily want chicken, broccoli, and rice for every single lunch, is you can prep ingredients instead of prepping meals. So you could prep chicken and beef, maybe only half of each of them. You could prep different kinds of vegetables. You could prep rice and potatoes, so that you can kind of like mix and match your lunches, especially if you are able to go home for lunch. You can kind of pick what you have, but you still have healthy options, or give yourself 5 minutes in the morning to throw together whatever you want that day, so you don't have to have the same thing every single day. For dinners, I always switch it up, but I've been really into like crock pot meals lately, because by the time I get home, take my dog out for a walk, and just kind of relax, I don't feel like cooking dinner. So I like to throw something in the crock pot either in the morning or in the afternoon if I go home for lunch. And then not only do you have dinner ready, but typically crock pot meals are bigger meals, so you have something for 2, 3, 4 days, depending how many people you have in your family. So that is my biggest tips when it comes to dinner.
So obviously, as you guys can hear, there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Like for me, it's almost day to day. The only thing that kind of carries over the next day is usually if I make like a few chicken breasts. Usually I don't go more than like 3 or 4 days at a time, like chicken breast and broccoli, and then I'll just use my rice, throw that in the microwave if I have that meal. But if you have to kind of play around with what works for you. So if you can't go day to day, then I would recommend doing like 3 or 4 days at a time, where you pick maybe Sunday and Wednesday, where you're gonna spend half hour getting all that, maybe your lunches and dinners at least prepped out for the week. Or you could do it for a week if you're somebody that doesn't mind having meals in the fridge for the week, which it really isn't a big deal. It all comes down to like how important your goals are and how that you want to achieve that goal. You'll kind of just do whatever it takes. So my biggest tips, just to kind of give you some tools and tips to start this, is pick out maybe 3 or 4 options for a healthy protein, 3 or 4 options for a healthy carb, 3 or 4 options for your healthy fats, and then maybe a couple different options for your vegetables. And then I would just use like Pinterest or Google and look up, okay, recipes that include X, Y, and Z, and then you can get a bunch of healthy recipes to make or prep based off what you bought on your grocery list. So make a list, stick to the list, make sure it's good, healthy, whole foods, and then prep out the meals that are going to be the most inconvenient for you to make. So if wake up in the morning and breakfast, you don't have as much time as you would like prep out your breakfast. That's why I make a super shake, because it's super quick and easy, or the egg wraps for lunch because I'm already at work, so I don't have an oven here, so I just bring my egg wraps to work with me, along with super easy snacks, bananas, protein bars, apples. It does not need to be very hard, you guys. So making that list and then coming up with that plan, make the hardest meals, and then if you have time, just make easier ones. There's a million different ways of making really healthy breakfast in under 5 minutes, and we all just named off a couple of different ones. You get oatmeal, your egg wraps, your smoothies. The biggest thing is just doing the research and finding a recipe or a meal that you enjoy. And that's another thing is these meals, like when we say chicken broccoli rice, it doesn't have to be plain Jane, like no flavored chicken broccoli rice. Like I use Italian dressing or teriyaki on it, something that's lower in the calories, and you can get a healthier version of these. And don't just sauce it, like layered on, like just use some to give it some good flavor. And it's still going to be way healthier than if you went and got fast food or pizza, for example. So that's another thing, is you don't have to go from 0 to 100, like eating fast food every day, to eating so healthy that you're afraid to like use any kind of dressing or any kind of flavor to your food. Like meet in the middle. Like I totally meet in the middle on that, and I know that I'm doing a better job than other people that maybe are going out and eating fast food.
Yeah, like there's a difference between the optimal diet, like the one that's like perfect. You get all of the, you have all whole unprocessed foods, you get all your vitamins from that. Well, it's not realistic, right? Like you can maybe stick to it for a day, but even the most elite people, they still have compromises here or there. We can have a very healthy diet and have meal prep that doesn't take 4 hours on a given day to do. I think part of it is just the simplicity of it. I mean, if you listen to all of ours, it's usually like, okay, it's quick and easy. We all pretty much do a smoothie at some point, and we all have some sort of a meal that's like chicken and rice or beef and rice, slow cooker meals, potato. We all have similar things, but we can make it so many different ways. Like if we actually laid out the food that we eat every day, it would look very different, even though the foundations are pretty much the same. So that's like my recommendation, is just sticking to a certain foundation of, okay, this is how many meals I'm going to eat a day. These are my 3 main meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then I have my 2 snacks in between, or something like that. I also recommend having like almost some options that if you forget to meal prep or you're not able to meal prep that week, maybe you have canned tuna, or my family, we can chicken, so that way if you don't have time to cook chicken during the week, you can just pop open a jar and you already have cooked chicken for the week. Having the microwavable bags of rice is another good one. I usually just use a rice cooker, and then I can cook up 6 cups of rice, which lasts me the week. But sometimes, if you have something going on that weekend, like a wedding or you're going on a trip, then having those cups on hand in your pantry is probably one of the best things, because you can't have the excuse of like, well, there's nothing in the fridge for me to eat, so I guess I'm just going to go and get fast food. It's okay, I have my canned chicken, my emergency foods, you could call it, or just finding out what works for you on the go, of like making a sandwich or a wrap. And even if it's maybe not the most optimal or best choice of having your meat and your rice and your veggies, it's at least better than going out and settling for something else.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say actually that I do is I always have like canned chicken and tuna for just those days when you don't have anything prepped, or a lot of times my meal prep isn't like 5 days, so if I don't have like another meal, I'll get out tuna or chicken and make a wrap or eat the tuna with crackers, or, and again, it's not the best, but it's also better than going to McDonald's or going and getting fast food. Another thing that I actually prep that I kind of forgot about is like I always have either a healthier version of a muffin or a cookie that I prep, and like I will freeze them and just put them in the microwave. And I usually allow myself that every single night after dinner as like a snack, and it's really not bad for you at all. It's actually pretty healthy ingredients, and it tastes good, and it just gets rid of my craving for anything bad. And then when I get to the weekend, I don't feel like I have to go indulge in sweets or carbs or anything like that, because I haven't deprived myself the entire week. And again, it's a healthier way of doing it. So I really like to prep things like that too.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that too. Is I kind of work in like once you follow a healthier nutrition plan for even just a couple weeks, like your taste buds adjust, and all of a sudden, you know, a chocolate protein bar tastes like a candy bar.
Yeah.
Like I get excited every single morning. I have a banana, my egg wrap, and then it's basically like an almond butter protein bar. And it's chocolate chip flavored, but it's literally delicious. Like I love it, and it's like a snack. Big thing I recommend when you do that, if you have like a little bit of a treat, is have it last. So like have your healthy food first, and then you get to enjoy that last. And it's almost like cures your sweet tooth, but it's also a healthier variation than going out and getting, you know, a blizzard or, you know, eating junk or something. So another big tip would be have multiple healthy snacks available, because there are going to be moments like what these guys said, that where, oh, I'm going to miss dinner, or I'm going to miss lunch, I don't have anything prepped, or, you know, something comes up. At least you can grab a healthy snack. Like I always recommend almonds or walnuts, or like some kind of healthier trail mix is even better than a lot of things. Bananas, apples, you know, apple and peanut butter, protein bars, protein shakes, mixing up a protein shake. Like all of those things are better than going and getting some fast food. So have stuff available like everywhere. Like put a bag of almonds in your car, or a couple protein bars right in your car, or leave them at work. That way you always have access to that stuff. Because that's really what it comes down to, is just not having access to healthy stuff. And that's why fast food and convenience store, like party stores, they're just loaded with candy bars, and that's usually what people end up getting, is because they either have fast food as an option or running into a gas station and grabbing something. So just make sure you're prepared in that sense. It doesn't take a lot of time to be able to do that. So that's another big tip. So.
Yeah, and one thing is, if like you do have something that's like your treat, that's like almost like your non-negotiable, then maybe find a way to have it balanced with your meals. Like maybe just have a protein shake with it. That way, you know, instead of having a carb and a fat source, obviously it's going to provide more nutrients, but if it's going to help you stick to the rest of your diet a lot better and not just say the heck with it, then, you know, maybe add in a protein shake, have your treat, and then if that's what's going to keep you on track, then, you know, that's what's going to be optimal for you. That's what's going to help you to adhere to whatever diet or plan that you're making. I do a snack at night. It's Greek yogurt, like a cup of Greek yogurt. So there's probably about 20-ish grams of protein in that. And then I put some fruit, like raspberries or strawberries. I'll do the Kashi Goleen cereal, which there's a little bit of protein in there, but it's almost like you get the little protein flavor. And I, use a quarter of a cup, so it's not a ton. It's not like I'm having a whole bowl of the cereal. It's different of having, a whole bowl of whatever cereal you want versus just adding a little bit into like the yogurt. Gives it a little crunch and flavor. And then I sprinkle some mini chocolate chips on there. I like chocolate. I wouldn't really want to live without chocolate. I could, but having that little treat at the end of the day, it makes it, you look forward to it. You don't feel deprived, like, oh, I can't have anything. And once you deprive yourself of that, that's when you're like focused on it and you want it, and then that's when you go off the rails. So by, making some compromises here and there, like, it might not be optimal, but that's making those compromises is what's going to help you stick with it long term.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just, we always say like the 80-20 rule, like eat good 80% of the time and kind of have things that you like 20% of the time.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about like sustainability, and that's why we teach that rules, because it really comes down to not eating perfect. It's improving your nutrition. If 70 or 80% of what you eat is healthy foods and you eat it 70 or 80% of the time, you're going to be way better off because you're going to stick with it for a long duration of time. It might take longer to get to your goal, but you will get there, and you'll learn the habits and be able to actually keep that goal. And it's more important about just the total calories anyways. Like, when we first start out a client, for example, like if you do have crackers and tuna or whatever, or that, so a little bit of chocolate here and there, as long as you're in your calorie recommendation, it's not going to make you gain a bunch of weight. I mean, the only reason you do that is if you went way over on calories day after day, week after week. So don't be afraid to have that little bit of indulgence, is what we kind of call it. That kind of helps keep you sane. Like it keeps you. You can stick with it a lot longer. And we definitely recommend. We try to get clients to do 3 meals and 3 snacks. You can even get away with 2 meals, 2 snacks. So 2 to 3 meals, whole meals. Try to have a protein, a veggie, carb, and a fat with your meals, or try to at least get 2 to 3 servings of each every day. So if you get 3 servings of protein, 3 servings of healthy fats, 3 servings of veggies, and 3 servings of carbs, you're doing pretty good. And spread that out over 2 to 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks. Ideally, what we've seen is I prefer like eating every 2 to 3 hours, and that's why I have so many little snacks. And that actually keeps you from overeating in your meals too. Because if you go like 5 or 6 hours between like lunch and dinner, for example, you're gonna like really pig out on dinner, and then your brain's gonna tell you, oh, we need a snack too. And then you're gonna crave a snack and probably have something that you maybe shouldn't, or overeat. So that's just kind of our recommendations on that. Is I always recommend starting with a healthy breakfast. I know there's a lot of studies behind intermittent fasting. It's just not even possible for me, because we eat dinner at 6 o'clock, sometimes even 7, and then I'm up at 4. And if I were to intermittent fast for 12 to 16 hours, like I'd be 3/4 of the way through my whole entire work day, plus a workout, before I would eat anything. And I just don't want to put my body through that. So I always recommend starting with a healthy breakfast and then just eat every 2 to 3 hours after that, and just find what works for you.
Good plan.
That's it?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, no input on that. Okay.
That's good. Good info.
Perfect. So hopefully this helps. I would just start out by creating a list. So picking out a healthy option for your proteins, your carbs, your fats, your veggies. Make a list, go and buy that stuff that's going to last about 4 days or a week, and then come up with a couple recipes and start trying this stuff out. I would definitely recommend throwing away any junk in your house too, because that's just going to steer you away from your healthy nutrition plan. If you've got Oreos and chips and a bunch of crap, sitting right in the cupboard, you're not going to go for that banana when you could go and grab 4 Oreos. It's just not how we work. So throw that stuff out, replace it with some healthier snacks. Start coming up with ways to prep your lunches and dinners, and start crushing your goals. So if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe, and you can see our future videos. If you need help with any of this, make sure you reach out to us. We can sit down with you for 15 minutes and come up with a plan. Until then, stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.